Hey there, CGMS students, and welcome to Notes 5.4. Today is actually the 11th, if you want to change the date. It's one-step equations, error analysis. So understanding and being able to work one-step equations is one thing. Mastering it and being able to pick out the errors that other people do is a completely different thing. And that's what we're working on today. So let's try a couple of these problems. It says the equation 8h is equal to 200 can be used to find out how many hours h person needs to work in order to earn $200 at $8 per hour. How many hours does a person need to work to earn $200? So they have this equation set up, 8h equals 200, right? That's the original equation. Maybe you write it off to the side here. And they're telling you that it's correct, right? So the error is not in the formation of the equation, but in the work, right? So the error in this problem, if you look at 8h equals 200 is what? Well, the variable was on the left, so they should have divided by 8, right? So the error in the problem is the work, period. They should have divided both sides by 8 to isolate h, the variable, right? Okay, so that's where we're going to identify and explain the error. Now we're going to actually go ahead and rewrite the problem here and do it correctly. So 8h equals 200. Divide both sides by 8. On this side it cancels off because 8 divided by 8 is 1, so h is left over. H is equal to 25. So you put your answer here, 25, meaning that somebody would have to work 25 hours at $8 an hour to earn $200. So then serious strategy. So one thing to remember is to always work with the side that has the variable, right? If I work with the opposite side, then I won't be able to isolate my variable. And that's the goal of a one-step equation, is to always isolate the variable. Right, second one, it says Henry and Rick have 265.3 downloaded minutes of music. If Henry has 112 minutes, how many belong to Rick? Write and solve an addition equation to find out how many minutes belong to Rick. So they've written this addition equation here. They are telling you it is correct, R being the number of minutes belonging to Rick. And now they're saying, okay, let's do minus 112 plus 112, R equals 377.3. So Rick has 377.3 minutes. That doesn't make sense. If they have 265.3 minutes downloaded together, there's no way Rick can have more than that. So if we take a very careful look at the work, you'll notice that they subtracted 112 from both sides on this side to cancel that out, right? But then they added 112. So the error in the problem, again, is in the work. Whatever inverse operation you do to one side, just one side, you must do to the other. Whatever you do to one side, you have to do the exact same thing to the other. So we write the equation again, 112 plus R equals 265.3. Maybe you draw your scales of justice this time, and then you subtract 112 from both sides because we saw addition, so therefore we subtract. This side cancels out, and R is equal to 153.3 minutes, right? So one thing to remember is you have to keep your equation balanced. And we do that by making sure that whatever I do to one side, I do the same exact thing to the other side, right? If I take away 112 on one side of the equation, I got to do it on the other side in order to keep it balanced. All right, last one. It says Charlotte's ice skates cost $30.45 less than her skateboard. So think about that. Her skateboard should probably be more than the ice skates, right? Her ice skates cost $95.28. How much did her skateboard cost? Write and solve a subtraction equation to solve. So we've got this, right? We see subtraction here. They've got the correct subtraction equation. The skateboard cost minus 30.45, right? That less than flips it. So they've done that correctly. Equals the cost of the ice skates, right, at 95.28. So let's look here. We see subtraction up, problems in the work, right? If you see subtraction, you must use addition. Okay, so let's go ahead and fix this. So B minus 30.45 is equal to 95.28. Draw your scales of justice. This time we see subtraction, so we will be adding 30.45. And it makes sense, right? Because the skateboard is supposed to cost more than the ice skates if the ice skates cost about $30 less than the skateboard, right? So B is equal to $64.83. So one thing is to remember is you do the opposite or the inverse of whatever operation you see. Okay, so if you take a look at the backside, you'll have 3 problems here. I'm not saying they're going to be as easy as the front side. Sometimes maybe the error is actually not in the work, but in the equation, and you might have to write a different equation, right? So you're going to be doing these on your own, and when you are finished, you may go ahead, as long as your answers are as robust as mine on the front, you may go ahead onto your homework.